As a family, we were recently driving down a backcountry road, and our daughter Chloe, if she's not careful, can get a little car sick. So maybe this is a good idea or not, I don't know. So to try to prevent this, we just told her that as we were driving down, she should imagine that she is riding a roller coaster. And so as we were going uphill, she started to get a little bit excited, and then we would descend and she would throw her hands in the air and cry with excitement as she was riding that roller coaster. And I would drive the car and we would go around a corner and she would lean and then she would lean that way. And all the time she was having a lot of fun and thankfully not getting sick. And so she was imagining that she was on this roller coaster. And at one point she said to me, she said, "Daddy, how do you make sure that you don't get sick?" And I replied, "I just keep my eyes on the road straight ahead." And as I was thinking about that, and as we think about our lives in the world in which we live, the analogy of a roller coaster can probably feel pretty accurate. Sometimes we are trudging uphill and things feel slow and difficult. Other times we are racing down the hill with joy and excitement as we feel the rush of different pleasant things in our lives. And sometimes we feel like we are winding down a road, taking twists and turns that we did not anticipate and that we could not foresee. And so similar to Chloe's question, we may look at our lives and ask, how do we make sure that we don't get shaken? In Psalm 16, we see David acknowledge that life can be a roller coaster with ups and downs. And he provides us with a few helpful hints as to how we can make sure we keep our heart and eyes focused on God. In looking at Psalm 16 this morning, I'm actually going to skip ahead to verse 8 real quick, where David says, "I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I shall not be shaken." Within this verse and through the other Psalms that David writes, we know that he is no stranger to twists and turns. He was pursued by his enemies. People wanted to take his life. Those around him were not always pleased with him. And through this, he reminds us that the Christian life is not immune to pain. It is not immune to difficulty or to heartache. We will face difficulties and trials. We will have ups and downs in this life. And yet through that, he gives us three things for us to think about. Number one, to run to your refuge. Number two, refocus your eyes on the Lord. And number three, rejoice in his presence and in his promises. So number one, run to your refuge. With that, all of that in mind, David starts in verse 1 by reminding us to take refuge in God. The idea is that God provides shelter and protection. Again, it does not mean that we are excluded from hardship or persecution. Yet we have a God who is a refuge, who is a safe place where we can receive shelter and protection. It is the comforting promise that you can run to him for safety and emotional rest rather than relying on your own strength. So we can run to our refuge. Number two, we refocus our eyes. In recognition that God is our refuge, it provides us with a focus. Knowing that it is God who satisfies and being aware that God is our refuge, he is the one in whom we can find our delight, our peace, and our joy. However, I think that that verse 4 is a verse that should provide us with a reality check as well, and a moment of reflection. David says that those who run after other gods will suffer, which should make us pause and ask ourselves, where are we turning? What other gods are we chasing after? I think that can be an important question for us to reflect on, especially during the summer. I don't know about you, but summer usually brings about a slightly different schedule and routine. And it's nice to have a break from the normal, but at the same time, I can find myself chasing after a vacation or chasing after the God of comfort. But that is again where David encourages us to focus our eyes on God, to not chase after other gods, but to continually go to God who is our refuge. And the result of what happens when we do that is found in verse 9. So number 3, rejoice in God's presence. And as we look at verses 8 and 9, we see the response and the result. Verse 8 says this again, I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I shall not be shaken. And then verse 9 says, therefore, my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest secure. We keep our eyes on the Lord, and as a result, our heart is glad. We keep our eyes on the Lord, and as a result, we are not shaken. We keep our eyes on God, and as a result, our tongue rejoices. And we can rejoice because we know that God will not abandon us. We can rejoice because God has shown us the true path to life. We can rejoice and find rest because in the presence of God, we are filled with joy. So I encourage you to take a few moments to think about the ways in which God has been your refuge, to think about the ways in which God has provided you with rest, with security, and with joy. And a question to ask is, have you paused to rejoice and praise Him for what He has done in your life? For the ways in which He has shown you the path through all of the twists and the turns of the roller coasters of life. Yes, there are ups and downs and twists and turns as we continue to navigate our lives. Yet we are not called to worry about the twists and turns. We are called to keep our eyes focused on God. And He will guide us and protect us and give us joy in His presence. So to wrap up, I want to go back to that drive with Chloe. The road did not suddenly become straight. There were still some hills, some bends, and some unexpected turns. The thing that kept me from getting disoriented wasn't changing the road. It was keeping my eyes fixed on where I was going. Psalm 16 reminds us that God doesn't promise us a life without twists and turns. David certainly didn't have a life like that. He knew what it was like to face uncertainty, to face fear, disappointment, and danger. And yet in the middle of all of it, he could confidently say, I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With Him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. So this week, whatever road you find yourself on, remember these three truths. Run to your refuge, refocus your eyes on the Lord, and rejoice in His presence and in His promises. Have a great week.